The history of the English language. That is what we are going to be talking about in this new episode. The history of the English language begins with the arrival of three Germanic tribes. They invaded Britain and they developed in England what we now call Old English.
Woven draperies upon the wall, there was a seat under a canopy, and there sat a lady.
But what happened after that? In 166, William the Conqueror invaded England. So these new conquerors brought with them the language, which was French. So the lower class spoke English and the lower class spoke French. So they mixed, and as a result, we have the arrival of the Middle English.
With his sure soda, the drucht of March hath pierced to the road.
Then, and towards the end of the Middle English, words were pronounced shorter and shorter. But what happened there? Well, the main difference between early modern English and late modern English is in terms of vocabulary. Late modern English acquired a lot of many words because mainly of the Industrial Revolution. So as a result, English has acquired a lot of words from different areas and regions.
Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, your will be done.
Between the 5th and 6th century, modern-day England was inhabited by a tribe called the Celts. The Celts were long protected by the Roman military, but when the Roman military withdrew, the Celts became more vulnerable to invasion by Germanic tribes, which gradually colonized England and settled down on its fertile farmland. These people from northern Germany and southern Scandinavia were called the Anglo-Saxons, and they brought with them their own language, which is Old English.
Wow!
Before the arrival of the Germanic tribes, the Celts spoke many Celtic languages. Over the many centuries, the language of the Celts mostly died out, and the only one that survives today is Gaelic, which is spoken in small communities of Ireland and Scotland.
You better watch what they're saying. I speak Gaelic too.
The following traits characterize the Old English: long vowels, many inflections, past and present tenses, short one-syllable words, and gender words, masculine, feminine, or neutral.
Nice!
Now I will show you some Old English, and as well I will show you a TikTok with Old English words and their meaning.
First 12 lines of Beowulf in Old English. What, we gardena, in yer dogum, theod kuninga, thrum jefrunon, hutha adelingas, ellen fremedon, oft schild cheving, shaden a thratum, monagum machtham, mer a settle oft tach, exoda erlas, suthan arest worth, fair shaft funden. Heithas frovra je bad, works under walknum, werth mundum thach, oth at him aya whilch, thara situndra, over hron rada, Huron shoulder, gomban yuldan, that was gold kuning.
Impressive.
6 words in Old English: shape, artist, swap, crapless, fragile, yellow red.
Oh, clap, 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 clap.
Of the table, a counterwoven draperies upon the wall, there was a side under a canopy, and there sat a lady. In the middle of the table, a counterwoven draperies upon the wall, there was a side under a canopy.
The Middle English. The Middle English was the form used in England because of the Norman conquest. Because of the Norman conquest, French was the language which displaced in England as the most used one, especially for the upper class. But then it changed, and English was once again becoming the language of the royal court and of literature. But here, during the Middle English, something really important happened. The great vowel shift.
T-O-M-B, bomb. T-O-M-B, Tom, no, tomb. If T-O-M-B is tomb, that's boom, the bomb's over. But no, that's bomb, that's tomb. Get ready. Is this calm or coom? No, that's cold.
It was a massive sound change, which affecting the sound of the long vowels during the 15th and until the 18th century. So basically, the long vowels shift upwards. So in order for you to have a better understanding of it, I am going to compare this Middle English with the Modern English sounds. So the letters Y and I will sound like an E. The letters E and EE will sound like an A. The letter E, when open, will sound like an A. The letters A and AA will sound like an A. The letters U and OU represent U. The letters O and OO represent O. And the letter O, when open, represents O. Maybe you're looking at it and you feel a lot of confusion. In Chaucer's language, the endings E, ED, and EN were pronounced in almost all cases. So I'm going to give you an example for you to hear how it sounds. Look at this example. We are do angry, we mitale do. But also a lot of elements of grammar were affected.
Oh my god! Wow!
For example, they were creating the progressive forms of the verb, such as in the phrase I am going to. Also, they arranged auxiliary verbs, such as in I have seen, I didn't go, and also the infinitive form of a verb started to be marked by the use of a particle, such as to go, to sham. But we have even more to learn about. For example, new contrastive units of language, this is to say the phonemes, emerge. For example, in the distinction of the and of the v sound. For example, in the words grief and grieve. And the same occur with the s sound and with the z sound. For example, in the words seal and seal.
Life does not. Oh my god. Oh my god.
And did you remember the things that we were talking at the beginning of the video about the French influence? Well, French introduced a lot of prefixes and suffixes to the language. Some of the suffixes, for example, which were introduced were, for example, able or ity or meant, and some suffixes and some prefixes were, for example, pre or pro. Some examples of words with those kind of suffixes are, for example, defendant, tournament, and that and the tion ending alone produce hundreds of creations, such as, for example, the words suggestion and contemplation. Couldn't finish without reciting you a poem. In handy habit sent, good from heaven it is me sent, from male woman and light as Alice.
Today we're going to talk about modern English. There were many historical incidents which had an enormous impact on the development of English. One of them was the introduction of the printing press by William Caxton in 1476. The other one was the beginning of colonization. Thus, English became a more global system of communication. This period finishes with the completion of the Great Vowel Shift. From then on, morphological patterns had been established. Word order was fixed to subject, verb, and object. 5 long vowels were raised and 2 became diphthongs. This made it understandable for the modern ear.
Do you understand?
Today, the spread of English around the world is defined into 3 concentric circles. The inner circle, where English is the first language or native language. For example, in the USA, the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, the outer circle includes countries colonized by Britain and USA, for example, China and Russia, where English is used as a second language, and the expanding circle, that where they don't have it as an official language, but recognize its importance. Today, English is the most widely used with more than 300 million native speakers.
Are you okay?
English is truly a melting pot of many different languages.
All in all, the British Empire gobbled up around 10 million square miles, 400 million people, and nearly 100,000 gin and tonics, leaving new varieties of English to develop all over the globe.
Hello and welcome back to our channel. My name is Pilar and today we're going to look at the different types of English in the world, also known as varieties of English. We may think they're all the same, but some characteristics make the difference. Shall we start?
British versus American English. They seem to be similar, but they have some differences, so let's talk about them right now. What about if I say, that's better? That's better. That's better, using a T sound, the consonant T, is used in British English. However, if you are using American English, that consonant between two vowels will sound like a D.
Welcome, can I take your order? Yeah. Can I get lettuce and tomatoes? Yeah, and a ranch.
Okay, let me get this straight. You want a lettuce and tomato with ranch? No, I'm kidding, man. I love the British accent, dude.
Yeah, cool.
What do you want to drink?
To drink, can I just get...
What?
Can I get some water?
Don't you mean a bottle of water? A bottle of water?
Picking up the car next Tuesday. I say that I'm picking up the car next Tuesday. Did you see the difference? If the car, I'm using British variety of English because the R, it is not pronounced. The car. It is a non-roti variety. Nevertheless, if I say I'm going to pick the car next Tuesday, I am pronouncing the R. It is a rhotic variety, so the R is pronounced. What's your address? Yeah, I say address. Or do you want me to say what's your address? Well, sorry, but I'm British. I'm changing the stress because if I say what's your address, that would be an American variety. But if I stress the syllable in its last syllable, what's your address? I will be using a British variety of English. I went out because I was hot and wanted some fresh air. I went out because I was hot and I wanted some fresh air. Can you hear the difference? If you say some fresh air, you're using like a raising intonation, so that would be an American variety. It would represent an American variety. Well, but what about if you say, I wanted some fresh air, and you use a falling intonation? In that case, you will be using a British variety of English.
Hi, can I take your order? Hello, mate. Can I please have a... Wait, are you British? Yeah, why? It's just that, the translator isn't here. It's just me, so... But we both speak English. It's not like I'm talking another language. Hey, you know what? I can do this. May I take your order? Right. So, can I please have a tomato sandwich with aubergine, courgette, a packet of crisps and a bottle of water? Cheers, mate. Oh, and a cookie for pudding. Get out.
But it is not as simple as that. For example, in England, we can find a lot of different regions and a lot of different dialects. Let's look first of all at Cockney. In Cockney, it is common to use a glottal stop. For example, a little bit of bread with a little bit of butter on it. Can you hear it? I am not pronouncing the T. So the sound T is replaced by glottal stop.
Butter. 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 Listen. Butter. Butter. That's it.
Another fact, the H dropping. You're not going to pronounce the H. For example, instead of saying house, you would say house. House? No, that would be house. 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 Can you hear the difference? TH fronting. What does it mean? Well, instead of saying, for example, thin, you are going to say thin. Thin, thin. Because the TH is replaced by an F or by a V sound. Or instead of saying brother, you're going to say brother, brother. And what about compare the BBC English with the Birmingham English? See you tonight. See you tonight. What? In British English, you're going to say it like see you tonight with an I sound. Whereas in Birmingham, you're going to pronounce it like in the word boy. See you tonight. Are those your brothers? Are those your brothers? British English is going to say those with an O. But in Birmingham, you're going to say those. Are those your brothers?
Birmingham accent. With the Birmingham accent, A sound changes into I sound, like this. Face, face, place, place, day, die, say, say. My mate's face is all over the places. My mate's face is all over the places. Also with the Birmingham accent, I sound changes into Oi sound, like this. Nice, noise, alright, alright, quite, quite, like.
Week 1 after moving to Birmingham, I'm a bit peckish. Shall we go grab some food? Week 2 after moving to Birmingham, mate, I'm well hungry. Do you fancy a cob? Week 3 after moving to Birmingham, alright, bab, I'm bloody starving. Meet you at Mackey's on the ramp. Alright, ta-da, 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 ta-da. Alright, 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 love you too. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Will do, ta-da, ta-da, ta-da.
And what about the Scottish, for example, variety? Well, for example, you're going to see how does not exist a difference between long and short vowels. So you're going to pronounce in the same way the words good, foot, good, foot. I want foot. Yeah, it was good. It is pronounced with a short vowel. So the Scottish variety tends to be a really rhotic variety as the American one. So for example, you're going to pronounce rhotic. Work. He does not understand me. What? He does not understand me. Well, I'm saying he doesn't understand me, but notice the pronunciation that would be doesn't in British and in standard English.
This city isn't Edinburgh. In England, you'll usually hear Edinburgh, Edinburgh. But in Scottish accents, R can be pronounced with a tap of the tongue, R. Listen.
Edinburgh, Edinburgh, Edinburgh.
And we also have to talk about the Welsh accent. This variety as in another ones. You can see how you use other words for commonly ones. They are pretty much different from the ones that you know. For example, oh, I can mangle a drink. That means that I am dying for a drink. My friend is from Port Talbot. What happened there? Notice the pronunciation of Port Talbot. It's like a rather short R instead of a long one.
Please, can I get 8 hot wings, please? Yeah, anything else? A large popcorn chicken, a Malteser Crush'em, and get 2 barbecue sauce of that, please. 2 barbecue what, sorry? 2 barbecue sauce of that, please. Sorry? So, yes, please, thank you. No worries, sir, when you're ready. Oh, thank you.
About Australian English, we can say that its most distinctive feature is its accent. What? There are 3 variation types. The cultivated, with 10% of the population who use it, the broad, about 30% of the population use it, it's heard in many characters' voices, and the general, it is used by most of the population. Let's talk about some phonetic features. About the long E and the long U, as in see and do, Australian people pronounce it as A and Ew. In New Zealand, British RP is the most highly rated accent, but they also have an American influence. They show some Australian English accents like the long E and the long U. E as in fish tends to move towards schwa, and E as in yes moves toward E like yes. South African English. As in Australia, there are conservative speakers who remain close to RP, and broad accent used mainly by the working class. A as in pat changes to E as in pet. The long A sound as in star is rounded and raised like store. Several diphthongs sound like pure vowels. For example, hair would be hair.
The end. Now, Hiberno English or Irish English, or sometimes is also called Anglo English, is a set of 3 dialects of English native to the island of Ireland, including Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland. English has distinctive features of pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. Has its roots in the Old and Middle English varieties spoken by the Anglo-Norman settlers who arrived in Ireland during the late 12th and the early 13th centuries. Over time, the language evolved due to interactions between the settlers and the native Irish-speaking population.
That's Irish! Irish, Scottish.
Now let's see some features of the Irish English. The Irish language has also left its mark on the syntax and the grammar of Irish English, particularly in areas such as verb, subject, and object word order. For example, it is common to say in Irish English, I am after eating, instead of I've just eaten.
That's weird. That's weird.
Intonation patterns. Irish language intonation frequently includes a rising pitch tone towards the end of a sentence, giving the impression of asking a question. Consonant sounds. The Irish English contains distinctive features of pronunciation of certain consonants such as the tapped and trill the da and the da, resulting in a softer sound. Vowel sounds. Irish English speakers can often display a unique vowel sounds, and shifts can vary across the regions. For instance, the vowel sound in words like start and park tend to become more elongated. Now let's see an example of Irish English.
Actually talk. Oh, class, haven't heard from this gobshite in ages. Well, lad, how's you cutting? Sure, I'm grand. I'm just after starting recording another one of those YouTube videos. Wished will ya. I am singing in this one. Anyway, I've been fierce busy.
The next one is the Canadian English. Canada is a big country, but also a young one, which means that most of the Canadians don't have different dialects or regional differences. Canadians speak very much like Americans. Their pronunciation is more nasal than the British, which means they speak through their noses.
Really? Yeah, really.
Now let's see some features of the Canadian English. Canadians produce R sound in all the words when it is written, including the R sound when it's at the end of the word. For example, car, for, where. Canadians don't seem to like the sound T. There is a joke about Canadians that they don't like tea, they like coffee.
I know, pretty good, huh?
Also, Canadians make disappear the sound T and they replace it with a sound D in words like center, Toronto, just, mass, most, 20. And now, a Canadian example.
I work best when it's nighttime and when it's quiet. I like for my music to sound like Toronto at nighttime.
This is easy. Who's my man? Jaromir Jagr, yo.
Is that Yama say what now?
Come on, dog. He's a hockey player. The man won the Art Ross Trophy 4 years in a row, fam.
English is a set of different dialects of the English language which is spoken in the different countries on the coast of the Caribbean, in South America and Central America. In the Caribbean, the British entered the stage almost a century after the Spanish had established themselves, and the struggle between these two for the influence and others European power shaped the history of this region for centuries. As a result of these incidents, we can find different varieties of English that have undergone several stages of language contact, going from the simple ones like Jamaican English to Creoles like the Jamaican Creole. For instance, the Barbadian English
Say what?
is fully rhotic, while the Jamaican one is the complete opposite. Now I will show you a short video of this guy who went to Guyana and he tried to understand, comprehend the Caribbean English, and it was very difficult for him. So let's see a piece of that video.
I am tired.
So we actually, when you read your call packet, if you're called English speaking, you're like, oh, like that's crazy. I'm going foreign, but I'm English speaking. And you get to the mission field, and you realize that they really don't speak in English. And it actually sounds like a foreign language. And as I mentioned previously, it took me probably serving in Guyana, it took me about probably 3 weeks to a month to actually start to comprehend a lot of the things that they were saying. So like, I'll just give you a brief, like, if you were to like pass someone on the street, you always say like good morning, but the way they say it is marnin. So it's like, hey marnin boy, how you doing? And so that phrase in itself is like good morning boy. Like if you're a boy or a guy, they'll call you bye. If you're a girl, it's gal. And then like how you doing, which is how are you doing, like right now. So the phrase is essentially like hey bye, like, or hey boy, like how are you doing now, which is like hey bye, how you doing? So they condense and they speed up like the language. So another, like if I were just to throw like a whole bunch of random phrases together and kind of just like translate it back.